welcome to a live spatial daily talk show. And of course, my name is Indanji, and I'm not alone. Of course, I'm joined by Pastor Derek Daka, Shine Daka, of course.
Of course,
Yeah.
when you say Dhaka, it's always, it sounds so dry.
Yeah.
When you say Shine Dhaka,
Shine Daka.
even my ancestors are
Great.
wow, we're there.
Okay, so you're watching Live Spatial Daily Talk Show. Now, of course, if you have joined us from Kasama, of course, Kasama, we greet you. Welcome to the program. It's Mukushi. How is Mukushi? And of course, if in Lusaka, Kalingalinga, Mtendere, Ibex, Kabulonga, welcome to Live Spatial. And of course, the topic we're having this afternoon is community engagement in national affairs. Quite an interesting topic. Of course, we are allowing phone calls as well as text messages to come through as we interact in many issues affecting your community. We can just table them right now. And of course, you can call out on any leader that you feel is not delivering in your community on this very show, so we can get interactive and engaging. Pastor Shine Shine Daka. Of course, it's quite an interesting topic, and I think we're going to be looking at many issues pertaining to community engagement, especially as Zambians. We have seen the level in terms of when it comes to engagement in national issues. Speaking about national issues, independence is coming just around the corner. It's something that we can also dive into in terms of the importance of that very day.
All right, so my viewers, once welcome konka twatotera sana. And very grateful to say, it's Independence time. So those days, when we were young, our parents will always prepare some clothes for you for Independence. I don't know now if you have prepared your colors for Independence, but I know viewers who are following us from Kitwe, from Mukushi, from Luena Valley, and those who are following us from Mongu, from Luimpa, and also from Kashikishi, maybe, they've prepared their clothes for Independence, because I know Independence is coming through, and some of our people who are celebrating, I know they're celebrating not because of just celebrating. Of course, it's this 57th independence anniversary, and many people are now asking themselves, because it's under the new dawn, and it's the first independence celebration with Mr. Hakainde Hichilema as Republican president, and so this will mark a lot of things in the UPND circles, and also as the new dawn government have put it already under the new dawn and good governance. So it will be one of the things that we anticipate to see new things, new generic kind of arrangement, as in the UPND will be in the forefront. But nevertheless, Nanji, there's something very good in the community. There's something very good that left me wondering last night to say maybe the PF is coming back in power.
Quite interesting. Quite interesting. It's something that we want to dive into. Of course, if you are aware, there was Kaumbwe constituency in Petauke, central Petauke district there. Of course, there were elections that were happening. Of course, surprising enough, of course, it does not all the time that when you have a new government in place, people tend to also divert their support in many cases, because they know that it's a bit of a challenge in terms of taking development to the people when you are in opposition. That's what the belief has been. But of course, that's a fallacy, by the way. Now, of course, surprisingly, the PF scooped, of course, the Kaumbwe constituency by election, of course, with a very huge number. Of course, they were topping up 6,000, of course, 6,633. Of course, the UPND were the runner-up. They scored about 3,117, and of course other political party like the Socialist Party, which followed with 1,835, and many others down there. Of course, I would like to run them through, but our key aspect, of course, is just between those particular two parties, because we know that the PF government.
But you're forgetting about one of the parties that I love so much.
And yes,
I'm not a fan or maybe a follower of the party, but
okay, let me just run them through all of them. So you have the PF scooping 6,633, and then you have the United Party for National Development scooping 3,117, and then you have the Socialist Party scooping 1,835, and then you have the Democratic Party scooping, of course, 517, and then you have the independent candidate scooping 446, and then there was another independent candidate who scooped 191, and then PNUP, which is the party in focus that you're talking about. Of course, President Hamid, surprisingly, has been doing very well. Suffice to say that the conversation we had last time on our live spatial discussion, the importance of the role of an opposition political party. Amududu in particular in his party, he is playing a major role in terms of also making sure that MPs are put in place in his party. And they are taking part in by-election, which is a very good indicator. Of course, they scooped 120 during that particular by-election that was there in Kaumbwe constituency. Yeah.
That's a very good sign, looking at PNUP coming through like that. And now the PF.
Yeah.
The PF. You know, losing the elections, the general elections, but scooping that seat, it's to me, it's a sign of they are coming back.
I would argue with you.
I'm looking at this. You look,
to be honest,
6,000.
It's a good number.
There's a big gap.
It's a good number for the opposition political party. Of course, being that they are from the ruling government, going into the opposition and scooping that number. There is a minute conversation around them coming back. But of course, we come down to the studies and, of course, the reality of Zambia when it comes to voting political party back into office. I think it will be in history, in the making, where if we can have a situation where the former ruling government, which went into opposition, coming back into power, of course, this could be a sign to say that there's a possibility of a ruling opposition now in government coming back into power. And I'm saying that for the UPNDs, I think this is the time where now they need to begin now implementing all the promises they did give, because this is a sign already that a lot has to be done from the ruling government.
It's a sign of a lot to be done. Look, you are in power for 2-3 months and you fail to win the election as the ruling party. That is already a sign of people not still believing in you. No matter how you convince yourselves, you still have a lot to do in your bedroom. Because now look at this. The PF government worked quite right. And there are mistakes that they made. But now we're looking at, here is a by-election, and we saw the president also descending, going through. We saw the ministers going through, just like the PF used to do. But now they lost their seat.
You know, winning an election and winning people's confidence, they are two different things.
How do you win without winning the confidence?
Listen, you can win, but without the confidence of the people. But just by the try and error aspect. This is where politicians have to really understand.
Okay.
People can do a try and error aspect on you as a political party, but not having the confidence in the people. So this is now, for example, UPND is starting on a very good note. And it's them now trying to now implement all the things that the Zambian people voted them for. And now they are on a very tight spot, being that it's almost going to 3 months, for example, them being in office. Now the question would be that what have they done since that time that they won the election? And are the Zambian people still on that track of victory to say that this is the party we wanted, this is the party we voted for, and all the things that they promised, we will make sure that this party delivers those things. And this is where now we are baffled with the questions to say that is the ruling government in the right accord, making sure that they implement all the promises they gave the Zambian people?
Look, comrade. So this is one of the things. People voted for free education, the dollar to go as low as 5 kwacha. Accordingly, the Mlekutika kind of arrangement.
And you should give credit. The dollar has been dropping. The dollar has been.
Yes, just 17.
No. Indicative may vary from bank to bank. But
dollar is not 17.
For the bureau.
For what? This is trade. We're talking about trade. We're not talking about numbers. Someone talking about numbers, it's at 17. It was at 22, yes, of course. And dollar is still hanging there.
So this is where I'm coming in.
And also the prices are still high.
This is where I was coming to say that the UPND, they have started on a very good note, but they have to deliver now. The question is, of course, we are seeing the currency.
Briefings?
No. If we're seeing the currency, let me finish. We're seeing the currency coming down.
Address?
We're seeing the kwacha gaining a bit of power. But what is happening on the consumer market is different. This is where people are complaining to say that still minimum the prices are high. Still tomato, even as simple as tomatoes, the prices are high. The European can say the kwacha has gained value, but again, what is really happening on the consumer market? The sad reality is that prices are still high and they're still going high. So now, are we going to see a situation where Zambian people will still be suffering from poverty, being that the kwacha they're saying it's gaining, but still the reality is sad.
Okay.
So now it's about pulling up the socks, making sure that the promises they enshrined in the manifesto that were pitching to the Zambian people is delivered on time, as expected. The funny part about the new government is that even when it comes to appointment, this is a sad note.
Now,
the president has been very reluctant in terms of making sure that he appoints the delegates that are meant to serve in those particular sectors.
Okay, Ndanji, where you've gone, it's to a very, very wonderful space. So the UPND promised people to say they are ready to save the Zambian government, the Zambian people. But now, have you seen any DC around the country? Have you seen any PS around the country?
Remember, the president was categorical. He did make mention to say that you need to be patient as Zambians. What he wants to do is to have a system in place which will not be torrent of corruption. Of course, by and large, over the years, all governments, I think, there's been an issue of corruption being an issue. And of course, when it comes to empowerment and job creation, it all comes down to corruption. So look, what he wants to have is to have individuals that are able to deliver.
Very simple and straightforward. We're going to 90 days. The late Michael Chilufya Sata stated very well. He asked for leniency from the people of Zambia and then also the stakeholders to give him 90 days. And that was given to him, granted to him. And there was no promise that was fulfilled around 90 days. And then also now we're here. We're told 14 hours from the time that I will be sworn in. Remember? So 4 hours and then everything, dollar will drop. Look, Ndanji, we have the dollar, we have the PS, we have all these issues. What is supposed to be put in place is to be very clear about your agendas. It's to be very clear about your agendas. I'm not attacking anybody. I'm speaking about the community engagement. So if you are a viewer and you're following this program, the number is on the screen. You can as well contribute on this program via that number that is on the screen, and that is 0978639512. That is the number that you can also tell us what is happening in your community. You are from Mutendere, you are from Kitwe Chamboli, you are from Mulenga in Kitwe, you're also from Chipulukusu, from Sinya in Dola, from Masala, and if you are also following us from Mazavuka, from Monze, from Choma, make sure that you send your message. And those of you who are following us for the first time, maybe from Kipushi border and those areas, make sure that you send your message via that number that is on the screen. I would like to hear from our brothers from Kasumbalesa border, because most of them are trading and they've been given the green light for them to trade without hesitation. So and there are so many promises that were given to say, no, this will come through, and people are still expectant, and people are waiting to see those promises fulfilled. Now, from the community per se, there is load shedding, which is back right now. Load shedding is back. Power in the community. People are posting on social media every day, complaining. Insecurity. People being harassed every day. Cadres are back in the community, attacking people. What would be the solution for you? For example, I put you in the case you happen to be a minister, for example, and then you are told to say, okay, this is your ministry, and you are Home Affairs Minister or local government.
This is what I always want to run away from when it comes to this angle. Remember when the president was featured on a radio program, the whole issue there was to engage the community to address the many issues that are happening in the community. Of course, it was a direct to the head. Which has never been done in history. But what we're trying to do regarding to the topic we have, which is community engagement on national issues, national affairs, is that, when we elect leaders in our community, it's not about the leaders identify the many challenges we are facing as a community. It's for you to engage with your leaders, to air out your voices to the leaders, so that when they represent you in parliament at ward level or at council level, they represent you with a true picture of the challenges that you are facing. I'm I'm aware of the challenge in Matelo, for example, as a journalist. And I'm aware that there's a water problem, apart from electricity. And the community will only wait for the authority to do the right thing to address that issue. It's their community to engage with the leaders that they elect to make sure that they curb this issue. Now, coming back to your point, for example, and I'm not trying to run away from the issue, leaders also have to create a safe space for the community. You know, the hardest thing that the community can have is the bureaucracy that is involved when you want to address a challenge to a community leader. You need to do a write-up that you have to wait for months or weeks, which is a long process. But if you can, they can create a safe space where they can engage almost maybe quarterly, every week, for example, with the community, just to understand the many challenges they're facing. I think these are some of the issues that we can not even be talking about on a daily basis. And I would like to recommend the new government, particularly with regards to you're still watching live special daily talk show. Of course, the number on the screen, of course, 097863 is the number you can get to interact with us live, of course, as we get to talk about the many community. Of course, the topic we're having is, of course, community engagement on national affairs. So if, but in regards to your community, where you're coming from, if there are issues that you really want to talk about on this program, get to interact with us this afternoon, and we'll definitely be able to dialogue with you on this particular issue. Now, of course, before we would like to sincerely apologize. We had a quick, quite a technical challenge there, but of course, we're back on the screen, as you can see, and we are diving into our conversation where we left off. Pastor Shine Daka, like I was saying, yes, recommendation is key. And this is where we also, as a community, we need to appreciate. When you have a leader,
you vote for a leader, you vote for someone, you vote for a councillor who came begging for votes, kneeling down every day, asking for votes. You give them a vote, and you have to go and remind them about the community issues. First of all, I find it irresponsible for a leader to being reminded almost every day about what people every day. Why are you standing, first of all? Because if you don't want people, because most of these I've assessed, looking at the spectrum of leadership nowadays, you find that this is a councillor. They want to get feedback from social media. Yes, it's good to get feedback from social media, but it takes also your efforts to go on the ground. Because if you say, no, I'm dealing with the community issues, you have to go on the ground. Literally in a place called Kaunda Square, stage 1, there's a problem with sewer issues, sewer line. It's been there for a long time. I was there. We went to do some news stories there, and I was so disappointed. And in that area there's a councillor who is not concerned, who doesn't actually stay in that area.
What you're saying is a similar example like in Lusaka. Many people from like northern province, Muchinga province, who have been to Lusaka, of course, during the rainy season, they can testify to say that the situation during the rainy season is not okay. But this is an institution, a constituency, which is run by an MP, of course, even a mayor of the town of Lusaka. They know the problem, for example, drainage system in Lusaka. You find water flooding everywhere. People cannot move and trade properly. It's a problem that they know. But where we are saying, that's the reason why we have this topic, say community engagement on national issues. The leaders of our continent, the way I see it, is like they need pressure from the community. And how, of course, I'm not talking about pressure in that negative way. I'm talking there are better ways of putting pressure on this so that they deliver on the intended national problem that needs to be addressed. Like I was giving an example of the Lusaka challenge of water, not having urban drainages, for example. This is something that they know, but because of not receiving the pressure from the people that elected them, it's not about voting them. It's normal for a human being sometimes when you vote them and then they go slumber. They can slumber for 5 years and they come back after they know that the 5-year term is coming to an end. They start talking to you. But what the community can do now is a consistent engagement with the leaders. You know that office of an MP, for example, it has to be given pressure every day. That community engagement.
Okay, now when you're talking about that office, the constituency office, I would like to tell you openly to say there are some people from people from communities who have never accessed such offices. Even their legislators being in the office, at the community office, because they spend time being with family, they spend time being at Parliament motel and whatever. They have never, you find, per se myself, I'm a Lusaka Central resident. Going to that office for our MP, we'll find a lot of documents. You have to sign, you have to do this, you have to do this. And meeting my MP, I actually had to meet the member of Parliament.
Making an appointment.
Making appointments and whatever. But, you know, it's supposed to be very simple to meet
your I raised bureaucracy. I said it's too long.
Bureaucracy and everything. But what has to take place is, when we want to meet our legislators, we go with our petitions to them. Okay, we want you to go and talk about this in Parliament. We want to, not whereby we vote you in and we start waiting. So it's a favor now. We have to write to you. We have to make sure we have a connection.
Accessibility.
Those are the issues that are now making people, you know, blackout. You find that you are voted in. All of a sudden you shift from the area where you used to live. We used to stay in Kanyama with a member of Parliament. They are voted in, they leave Kanyama, go to another place, and so now they are visitors. And also these issues of importing and exporting. You are from Lusaka,
this is what we're saying.
you go to Kaumbwe, that's why they are putting you as a member of Parliament. First of all, you have never dealt with the issues
you are right
in that area.
You're right, you actually hit the nail on the
head. You have never dealt with people in that. For example, sorry, Ndaji, Matero. I'll give you an example of Matero. The area member of Parliament, Matero, the past area member of Parliament was not a Matero resident. Mr. Sampa is a Matero resident by birth, first of all. And now he's no longer part of the resident in Matero. But he's part of Matero because he's been elected. You understand? He knows Matero in and out. I'm not advocating for him. But what I'm saying is, when you have an area member of Parliament who understands the issue affecting that community, they will be able to advocate rightly.
Let me tell you the issue that has been on the ground. The issue has been, is it in a normal accord to have MP come settle in Lusaka, for example, rather than settling in their constituency, like resident, as in staying there as your home per se, where you come from work, you stay there, where the community sees you on a daily basis, and when there are sittings in Parliament, that's when you travel coming to Lusaka. There has been this conversation by the community. Like, why can't we have our MPs settle in our constituency, not as in the situation where you have a member of Parliament from Pika Central, for example, who stays in Lusaka, only goes back there when maybe he has got a special ceremony that he has to attend. That's when he travels to go to. How are they going to know the challenges?
Most of them live like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this is the challenges that we are posing. So the community now, the topic we have today, this is where the community now have to engage. This is where they need to challenge, to say that we need a system that can change, that will allow our MP to settle in our constituency so that we can see them there, so that we can engage with them on issues that are affecting our communities. By and large, what we have seen is a situation where a simple issue as access to clean water has been there in a community for over 10 years, not addressed. Why? Because an MP is not readily available, is not accessible. Accessibility is another barrier that has been in our community. You find an MP, for example, for you to access an MP, and many other times people are scared even going to an MP's office because of how they carry themselves and how they distance themselves to the community member. These are the people who elected you, and they want you to be accountable and transparent to anything that has to do with national matter. Yeah. So this is a conversation now we are having to say that people now have to also remove that fear that they have. They elected this member of parliament. Let them hold the member of parliament accountable. It's not parliament to hold the MP accountable. It's the people to hold the earlier member of parliament accountable in that constituency. That's how it's done.
But how are you going to hold accountable this person who is absent? Even in a home, when you have a father who is never there, when time comes to, to point at someone to say, no, this is my father, you look at the person who is available every time, and you appoint them to be your parent. So we're talking about this as the issues that are affecting the community. If you have a problem of water in your community, you have a problem of roads and whatever, just make sure that you get the number that is on the screen, engage with your area member of parliament. I'm sure they are watching because this program is beamed live on different platforms. So make sure that you get in touch with us via that number that is on the screen, and also transmission. We don't know if there's any message you can share with us so that we can engage with the community. But now there are issues affecting people, especially in markets today. People are living in fear.
Yeah.
People are living in fear to say, okay, maybe we can be chased because we, some were cadres from the previous regime. Because when a regime comes in, you find people also tend to switch because of survival.
Remember that when this word, the term cadre came to be, of course, cadre it's a normal
it's a very
word.
good term.
It's a normal word.
Very
Yes,
good term.
cadre, yes, it's a good word. But the way we have programmed it in our mind, we think that cadre, of course, when you belong to a political party, you're a supporter of a political party, you're a cadre, yes, and then you are entitled to certain things. No. This is where we're saying that we are one Zambia, one nation. And of course, in a situation where you're operating from a public market is open to any Zambian who wants to work there and trade from there.
And that is not the case now.
And that's what we are now trying to say, that the community have to start engaging with the right authority, to start now making sure that the environment is more friendly. The leaders, for example, government when is elected is supposed to make the environment more friendly and safe for the people to do their activities. So when we have a challenge, for example, people having fear to operate in markets, what are we showing to not only Zambia but the community around us? What we're showing is that we don't have a proper system that can enable our Zambian people to operate freely. So now the community, it will take the community to engage with the leaders in a proper accord to make sure that they change the system. That's a system which will allow every Zambian to have the free will to operate in these buses and marketplaces. I was passing through this bus stop. Is it Millennium bus stop? You'll be surprised. There's been a lot of confused activities going on there because now the government has changed. It's now to chase the other individuals who were supporting the previous government. This is not supposed to be the case because they're Zambians as well. They want to work and they want to work to feed their families.
But look, Ndanje, these are the people who are very violent.
Sorry to cut short. Let's not put the word they are violent. There are some individuals that are violent, but it's a question to say, how do they now change their mindset to a correct?
For me, chasing them from the market is not the right solution. It's when people are empowered, the youth are empowered, they are rightly and given the empowerment, not given empowerment under political affiliation, but empowered. Just like the way we have betting companies. The betting companies are the new minds in our country. So every youth is now betting, including...
When you say every youth, I'm just wondering, that include me because
many people are betting. Yeah, many people are betting. Yeah. I don't know how to do it, but what I understand is that everyone is betting, and it has helped a lot of people. Just like betting, came to cushion on a lot of things. Just like the way debt swap came, and unfortunately, debt swap is no longer part and parcel of the civil servants pocket, but we're looking at betting that has helped a lot of people. And now, when you go and touch it, you disappoint me.
And you remember what you have raised, debt swap, for example. It was channeled. It was a good move by the previous government, of course, to introduce that initiative. But again, you know that the workers, for example, even the workers' union, for example, Teachers Association of Zambia, for example, they have the responsibility to advocate, for example, for such initiative to support the teachers. If you look at how all this rolled out, you come to blame also the leaders who are in forefront to advocate for a smooth operation of this kind of initiative, for example. Now, it comes down to say that also, for example, the employees, for example, how are they engaging with their employers? Or for example, is it an issue where you say they promise you something and it's not done, but you still keep quiet? The same fear that people, for example, civil servants get to have of losing their job, it's the same fear taken to the market. It's the same fear that is there of a marketeer losing his stand because of just doing the right thing. And this is where now we are saying, is it that the New Dawn government, they're working in terms of changing the system, or do we have a bad system that will take us a very long time and we need to start now so that we can create that environment that everybody can benefit from? Could that be the face that we're looking into? That's what I'm saying. But of course, it's prone to debate. A lot of people can say, no, we have a proper system, because there are people who are benefiting from the system that is there. But it has to be
being a system or not having a system, discipline matters. And of course, we have, first of all, we have political parties. And the crumble of power and everything within a political party makes everything sad. Because at the end of the day, there's a statement that the president passed last week, over the weekend. He said 50% of his leaders are crying, wanting to go to DMMU. That shows you to say everyone is eyeing for something to come out of whatever they get. They want to get something out of a position, which is already wrong. It's not service, it's benefit. You want to benefit from your service. And so the people will not benefit from you. And so when we are looking at a system that is supposed to change, we need first of all to have a mindset that will change before we even change the system. Because you may change the system, but your mindset is still the same. The working culture can be different, but when the mindset is still the same, you want to go at work. There's a Zambian mentality. Zambian time. There's no Zambian time. Across the globe, there's just time, GMT. So you have to make sure that if you're doing business, just as political parties are doing, the president, when he was elected, sworn in, he went to the United States of America, gave a very powerful speech that helped many people to have to regain hope about his leadership. But now, what fascinates me is about the delay. The delay, because even in markets, if you have delegated people to say, okay, you are the PS, you are the DC, and all this. So the people will now channel their energy in serving the people out there. But now, if you don't have those people in place to direct and then also to delegate others, that is why you find that no, we are waiting for the central government. We are waiting for the central government, and we'll always have these issues. But when we have decentralized all the powers to our markets, our city councils, and all this, will have a system that will be very smooth. Just like someone waiting for government to come and remove garbage from their gate. You put your garbage there, and then you're waiting for the government to come and remove for you. Boma Iranganepo kind of arrangement. That is why mostly people are suffering, because of waiting for the government. And you voted for a government to come and remove garbage on your gate. Not at all. What you have to do is to be responsible. First of all, you are responsible. And then the government will also be responsible. You don't have to leave the government, everything for the government. No, you have to know, Boma Iranganepo, Pameno Yang, no, Boma. It's not supposed to be like that. You have to make sure that you are also responsible as a citizen.
No, I get your point.
Stealing, vandalizing assets. You have to make sure that you don't have to do that. Sorry, Ndaje.
Yeah.
And then also one of the things that we have to do is to look at the issues of cadreism. You are calling yourself a cadre. We had commandos, we have commanders, we have all this. But now we no longer have those commanders.
That's language that the new government are removing.
Yeah, they are removing. But of course, among their circle, they still have the commandos. They still have a command center and all that. What is that? What that entails to say, we are still insecure about our systems. When you are secured, when you know you are focused and you know your system, you will not have insecurity. What creates all such issues, not to have bodyguards, commandos and whatnot, it is one of the things that we are insecure about our leadership. We need to understand to say, okay, I am a leader, I'm supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be there. I was very interested and also happy to see one of the New Dawn ministers being at a funeral without a guard, without a security, moving around, greeting people. Then you tell to say, okay, there's leadership here. Because you don't have to tell people, no, I'm a leader, I'm a leader. You need to respect me. You have to be there to serve the people. You are there to serve the people, not serve yourself.
Service is what will give you respect.
Yeah, but now if you're not serving, you will be giving people fear. You instill fear in people because you are not serving. And when you are corrected, you will be feeling like you are being attacked as a leader.
Just to drive the ball home, there has been an issue, of course, of leaders maybe signing a social contract. The conversation around the social contract was, if we find it hard to hold our leaders to account, but if they can sign a certain document that can compel them, if they don't deliver in this particular period of time, they just step down on moral grounds. I thought the idea was good, but this is where we're having a conversation to say that community engagement in national affairs is very key. Because when you begin as a community thinking to say that let there be a social contract between the community and the leader, elected, of course. Of course, you are elected, when you're elected, of course, the Constitution will protect you because you're elected for that 5 term, for example. But the social contract as well, it could be a thing that can be tabled down in Parliament to allow now, when leaders are vying for office, they list down almost everything that they want to deliver in that particular constituency or community. And then when they, you know how organization or companies work, there's always achievement, you write a report of achievements and whatnot. I'm thinking of an MP, when he decides to say, I've signed this social contract with my community that has voted for me. I am going to, in the next 2 months, I'm delivering safe and clean water in my community. I'm going to build roads in this particular community and whatnot. You sign and you indicate dates and days when that will be done. Once that's not achieved, you will step down on moral grounds. This has been a conversation.
Who can do that?
You step down. This is where Africa now, this is where Africa, not only Zambia, this is the direction of now true leadership. Because if you cannot deliver, why should the people suffer? On whose account? Because you can't fail. There are many people who have the potential to deliver. And the reason why also we're having a conversation on not delivering, one of the things that I've seen is that people who can deliver are even in the shadows. They're hiding because they don't want to be seen. And are you aware, by the way, that we have got great talent, people with good tenacity out there who are able to deliver and take this country forward. But because they don't want, the political is not that stable in our country, they fear to enter in the political realm. And this is denying our country of the intended progress. Community engagement comes to play. Community engagement in national issues now comes to play. Okay. What is the community doing to make sure that leaders are accountable and transparent in making sure that they deliver their promises?
The community live for handouts because they are not served. So they live with those handouts that you give them as a leader. So when you go to the community, you know, I'm very surprised nowadays to see, per se, a member of parliament donating instead of giving. They donate to say, no, I'm donating, I'm giving to the poor. You're supposed to give them because that's their duty. They gave you that mandate. You have to give back to the community. So it is social corporate engagement for a company to give back to the community and for an MP to engage with the community.
This is what we want to run away from as well. I've seen what you're saying is correct and it's got a bit of facts to it, but not every MP. But I'm saying it's got a fact to it. Your situation where a company is entitled to, under corporate responsibility, to give back to the community in that particular area. So what it is that every time they're doing their costing, their budget costing, there's an element of also including the community to say how is the community going to benefit from the services we're giving. But now, so now an MP will come in because it's an MP of that constituency where the company is, they will come in to say that, oh, you want to give back to the community. I want to be the guest of honor, for example, in that place. So now that product that they'll be giving to the community, for example, the MP will be seen as a person giving that product, which is something that we need to be running away from. Even companies, of course, I know companies, they need also to be in good relationship with these leaders for them also to operate properly. But no need to be entitled to offer certain services that you want to give to the community via using a political entity for you to deliver that. Of course, it's needed of you to do that just for you to know that what you're doing is also acknowledged and endorsed by the leader in that particular community. Of course, it's a normal thing to do, but not embedding that activity specifically entitled to the member of parliament.
You see, we have people in the community who are suffering in abject poverty, and what they need, some of them just need a 100 kwacha. You as a leader, if you have the money, give
and
people.
Then giving is what we're running away from. Giving has become another syndrome. You know, you only work and then they give you. And I think this is what we also need to run away from, the syndrome of just dishing out money. And I hope the new government, they will address this issue. I know communities are suffering. We are all suffering in a certain way. But the issue of just handouts is another syndrome that is very bad in terms of developing our communities. What we need to do is that if we identify now, I've seen Kalingalinga, for example, we have there's so much potential there in terms of welding and making of, for example, gates, doors and chairs and whatnot. So much potential. What leaders can do, whoever is an MP in that area, I'm saying this is my what they need to do, not giving out handouts. They see that this is a viable business venture, and the community, they are engaged in this venture. What I would do, instead of giving handouts to anybody that I meet, I will go and empower these individuals who are doing something. When I empower them with the resources that needed, then they grow their business. What do? They create employment. That's what we are doing now.
Look,
get the point.
Creating employment. The problem here comes again with political affiliation from our leaders. Because when a leader is given the mandate to stand, they come with a manifesto. First of all, not from the political party, their own manifesto, which is embedded with.
I do not agree with you that they come with their own personal manifesto.
They have to. They have to come with something that will make them
persuading people. Yes, I get the persuading people, but they drive the all-party manifesto.
Now the problem,
and they localize it to what is happening.
The problem that comes in is that when we come for election, a leader will come, their focus is vote for my president and give me a vote as your MP. And we are going to develop this community.
And are you aware that in certain cases, some MPs end up winning the MP seat just for the virtue of the leader, the president who's sitting in that party. Not necessarily the people wanted to vote for that MP, but because that MP is sitting under the ticket of this particular leader, and that's where the community make a mistake. Even when you know that this person won't deliver, but by the virtue of you attaching your emotion to this leader, and this is what the community has to also realize. Don't attach feelings to a leader. You have to have a direction as an individual as well. When you cast a vote, you're casting for the future.
People are not taught. People are not taught about voting and everything. That is why mostly people make mistakes. And
I've never seen at a rally, for example, where somebody from just randomly just raise up to hands and say, "Why should I vote for you?" Just says, "Why should I vote for you?" Most cases you find rallies are just there to listen and applaud.
Look, this is the political game. You give people what you want them to hear, not what they want to hear. So you engage them according to your own understanding. You say, okay, I want to talk to you about water. You give them that talk, and then they listen to you. So I'm sure viewers who are watching us and following, they can engage us via that number that is on the screen. And for now, we're taking a short commercial break just to make sure that you also engage us via that number. And of course, I feel it's time you can also make sure that you call us on the very number that is on the screen. And also we'll have maybe one or two guests on the line this afternoon just to talk to them. And one of them, we wanted to engage today, Mr. Sean Tembo, who seemed to be very busy today. And of course, the PNUP president, we've seen his posts going on social media where he's being celebrated as the most handsome president in Zambia, under the political spectrum. But for now, let's just take a short commercial break and we'll be back soon. Stay tuned, don't go away. welcome back on the show, and this is Life Special. And right, as we said before we went on the break, I'm with Ndanji, and we're talking about community engagement. You have issues in your community going on, you can also engage with us. And on the line right now, we have the President, Mr. Enoch Roosevelt Tonga, to discuss with us about different issues affecting the community. Mr. President, you're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
All right, thank you so much. I'm not alone. I'm with my colleague Ndanji Simwanza.
Mr. Simwanza Ndanji, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
How are you?
Good, good.
All right, Mr. President, how is the afternoon going?
On my side, yes, all is well, but we know that we are here to point out and speak for the poor, speak for the voiceless, you know, so I believe so that so many things are going on in the Republic of Zambia. On our side, we are okay. God is in control. Hoping you that side.
Yeah. We are very fine. Mr. President, there is a concern from few individuals, viewers who are following the program about sewer line issues in Kaunda Square Stage 1. And what do you think can be the solution for this area?
Well, the solution is to do the right thing.
Okay.
Which I must believe that local authorities are in full control of those areas.
Okay.
Yes, because first of all, what you should know is that you have got people in public offices in these local government, for example. Now, the people that are in the offices are being paid taxpayers' money. That money belongs to the same people that are complaining of the sewer lines. So then we expect people to deliver services to the best interest of those people in those particular areas. If the sewer lines, for example, are blocked, if the sewer lines are not okay, you know, if they are leaking or so much dirty is being exposed, it means that we are putting in danger the communities, you know, the people of this great nation. Maybe from that particular community, there could be a young child, you know, who will be the president of the Republic of Zambia tomorrow. So then we can only make it very clear to those who are holding public offices, in particular the local government, to ensure that they can heed to the call, you know, of those people in those particular areas. Okay. A few days ago, I saw that even the drainages are very poor in the Republic of Zambia in terms of the few drainages that have been constructed. It is important that we make sure that these drainages are closed up, because if they're left open, then you have a problem, because people can throw dirty in them anyhow. Okay. But the main call here, my brother Pastor Daka, is that it is very important that people who are holding public offices, because they know why they're still those particular offices. So then if people continue crying, complaining, it means that whoever is sitting in those particular offices is throwing salaries or allowances for nothing. And that is a crime. Okay? They cannot say that they are not being paid. Whichever month passes through in the local government, for example, if there's a councillor of that particular area, if there's a member of parliament of that particular area, if there is, as it is now, Gary Nkombo is the minister of local government. If there's a president, for example, in this case we're talking about Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, they must ensure that such issues are not there. Okay. Because it means that if people continue crying, then they are thieving. Okay. Tibalipira ndalama kutiwa making sure that ayamasewer lines yali clean and bantu badandaula EI, because wamene wajantu wamene wadandaula ndio wamene walipira ndalama kutiwa Gary Nkombo wangale mu office, ndio wamene walipira ndalama kutiwa president Hakainde Hichilema wangale mu office, baja wa council wangale mu office, baja wa member of parliament wangale mu office. Mani ngati wa member of parliament batenga ndalama, wa president wafola ndalama, wa minister wafola ndalama, bantu wecha continue kudandaula pa ground. Ndiye kuti bazunza abantu batenga ndalama for not delivering the services. That must be very clear in the ears of those who are holding public offices.
Okay.
It is very important.
Now, Mr. President, and Danji also has a question here.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah.
Mr. President, now
Yes.
understanding that community members will play a major role in holding leaders to account. Today, a topic we're having is community engagement on national affairs. Why is it so important for ordinary members to continue holding leaders to account and also making sure that they advocate for the many challenges that they are facing in their communities?
It is important because these are the leaders we have put in public offices. So those members of the communities are supposed to be given answers by their leaders. Because they are the ones who have given them the mandate to, look after or discharge the duties or probably serve the people of those particular communities.
Yeah.
So it is important that people of various communities, wherever across the Republic of Zambia, hold account of those leaders. Why? Because it is themselves who have put those people in those particular offices.
Okay.
And as I've mentioned earlier on, that those leaders in public office, for nothing, those leaders in public offices are being paid taxpayers' money. Izi ndalama zimetilipira zichoka ku bantu wama communities mwamene umo.
Yeah.
So it means that when people of the communities are paying their leaders, these leaders must come back and report that zichandalama zimenda nifolesa ine naserezesa mjira ya, so all of these are the services I've delivered to you. So here you are talking about money from the community paying for a leader in a particular community, be it a constituency, the country
Mr. President.
and what? Yes.
Sorry to cut you short. Now, the other issue is that access to these leaders has also become a bit of a challenge, especially people want to air their challenges to the MPs, the councillors. They find it hard to get hold of these leaders. What's your message? What's your take on this issue?
Yeah, at the end of the day, my message is very simple and straightforward. To whoever is listening to me now, that public political office holder or any other public, office bearer, this afternoon across the Republic of Zambia, be it in Osaka or anywhere else, is that you have been given that particular office or mandate to serve your people in various communities diligently. And the only thing we can do is that to remind you that you need to be available. Leaders need to be available. And if he or she isn't available before the people of Zambia, then they must question their consciousness to say, what am I doing? Again, that in itself is lobbying or stealing from the public. Because being available in itself is a service, because the leader will hear the problems of his or her people. So then, we just have to be available as leaders. But if you're not available, that becomes the basis for the people of that particular community to make a decision otherwise.
Okay. Now, Mr. President, this question comes in as if, for example, elected as Republican president, what would be the best thing that you can do for the Zambian people to always remember you, or as a legacy that you leave behind?
I think the best I can give you is that for me is to cry,
okay,
to laugh with the people.
Okay. So
what I mean here is that, yes, to cry and laugh with the people. What I mean here is that in summary form, it doesn't make any meaningful sense. For me as a head of state, enjoying my life, drinking a cup of tea, flying the plane, when you have communities or people or children sleeping in trenches. So I must make sure that I am on the ground, reorganize the entire Republic of Zambia to an extent that everybody lives a better life.
Okay.
You will not see me, moving around anyhow, flying out of the Republic of Zambia. Anything that focuses on Mr. Tonga as an individual will not be done, but anything that will touch the common man on the ground will be done to ensure that everybody smiles and be happy and appreciate the life that God has given that particular person.
Before we let you go, the non-bailable law, do you still strongly speak for that one?
100% correct, sir. I am just from the National Assembly of Zambia. I've just arrived.
Okay.
Returning from National Assembly of Zambia, where I took back the impeachment process or petition which we have asked the National Assembly of Zambia to put across to do with the breach of the constitution by the current head of state, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, where he created and he went on to sow in ministers in new ministries which were not yet approved by the National Assembly of Zambia. But in that petition, the moment I send it now, because we'll make it public, you realize that the first page of it all, I am reminding the National Assembly of Zambia that I am the one who successively went through the process of petition when it came to the non-bailable law on corruption, which is sitting with them. So we are pushing it. Today I'm just from pushing it through that petition, which have called for the National Assembly of Zambia to move a motion to impeach the sitting head of state, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema.
Okay, now, Mr. President, one of the questions that we can ask you, as Ndan just asked over that non-bailable, Mr. President, now the question here I want to put across is you are on record of wanting to impeach the president. Now, if the president leaves that office, will you be able to handle it successfully, such as he has put it, saying he wants to lift the standards?
No, look, my brother. The Constitution of the Republic of Zambia remains supreme.
Okay.
And whenever a head of state is being sworn in, they solemnly give a promise to say that I will uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Okay. And when you do not uphold, you breach or you go against the Constitution, the provision, and that is Article 108 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. When you go against any provision, you must be subjected to the process of impeachment. Now, if we successfully impeach Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the law is very simple, that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has the vice president, that is the Honorable Mutaona Lumango. So the moment Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is impeached, automatically the vice president takes over the office of the presidency. So there is no vacancy whatsoever. And it must be known before the public that the impeachment process is only focusing on a particular individual. And it is important that we can entertain it so that we protect or uphold the constitution of the land, because it is supreme. So it's very simple and very straightforward. The moment we succeed to impeach Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is out of office, then the vice president, Madam Mutaona Lumango, takes over as the president of the Republic of Zambia. The journey continues, and that's what we want to do as the Republic of Zambia.
Is that of goodwill or a witch hunt?
No, it cannot be a witch hunt.
Okay.
I've mentioned, let me just make it very clear before the people of Zambia. You ask yourself that did Mr. Hakainde Hichilema abrogated the law? The answer is very simple, categorical, in capital letters. Yes, he did, by creating new ministries, and he went on to sow in ministers. For example, Mutati, he was sown in the ministry which was very new before the approval or ratification of that ministry by the body called the National Assembly of Zambia. And that is against the law. It's very simple and very straightforward. When we read Article 108, it's very clear that when a head of state goes against the constitution or the provision, then he must be subjected to an impeachment process. Okay. Yes, we know that you need to, probably use a member of parliament, but there's also a provision that an outsider can petition the parliament, and that is what we have done ourselves. Okay. Therefore, we expect a clear, straightforward, and independent process to subject Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to this process of impeachment. And we hope
President Enoch Roosevelt Tonga, thank you so much for coming through to live special.
May God bless you. We really appreciate for the opportunity. Once again, my call to those members of parliament, councillors, please take heed to the cry of your people in those communities, because time will come that you will need them. abantu belalirayo bapeni chance, attend to them.
Okay.
Sort out the issues of
right.
sewer, so that people can live as Zambians for the good of this great nation. May God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All the
Thank
best.
you,
All
Mr.
the best.
President. Right, we just from talking to the President, Mr. Enoch Roosevelt Tonga, party president of Third Movement Liberation, and he was a contestant in the just ended elections.
Yeah.
And is known for his firm belief about zero tolerance to corruption. Right, as he has answered to some few questions that viewers are also asking, I would like to ask you as a viewer, you can just send us a message via that number that is on the screen, and also as well engage us on social media. And also my view and also my opinion about leadership is our leaders should just be very responsible to issues pertaining leadership in the community.
Yeah, so probably as a key takeaway is that as a community, we need at all times to make sure that we hold our leaders accountable. And we also have to be engaging, especially when it comes to issues affecting our communities. That is something which is very, very key. Now, you're not only going to leave what is happening in your community to your leader, because you are the people that experience the many challenges that you go through, but it's also to enlighten them. They might not know, you might think they know, but it's important that you forge ahead and engage them. I think one of the things I've learned from him is that national issues, national affairs, he's taking key interest. Of course, he's a Zambian like any other Zambian, and he understands very well that when a president breaches a constitution, some action have to be taken. Social nobody is above the law. Now, of course, as a community member as well, you need to make sure that you put your leaders in check. Thank you so much for watching a live special edition today. Of course, we will be actually interacting with you more often as we interact on many issues, as we also dialogue with key stakeholders and government officials all across the board. Yeah, Pastor?
All right, thank you so much, viewers, for coming through. We appreciate. See you on Monday, and have a wonderful afternoon. And then also those of you who catch the repeat, it's a good evening, and we appreciate. Continue enjoying the programming.
Whatever you might be doing, make sure it is profitable. Have an ambitious day.
And COVID-19 is real.
Yeah, it is.
Right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.